Welcome back, amazing viewers. Today we've got something super exciting lined up for you. Have you ever wondered how to power up your .NET Web API with the might of PostgreSQL? Well, you are in the right place. In this video, I'll be your guide as we embark on a step-by-step adventure to seamlessly connect PostgreSQL to your .NET Web API. Whether you are starting fresh with a new application or turbocharging an existing one, this tutorial has got you covered. So let's buckle up and let's dive into it. The question here is, why choose PostgreSQL? PostgreSQL is an advanced open source relational database management system. It is known for its flexibility and our standard compliance. Now, there are some key attributes that makes PostgreSQL unique. One is an open source, so it is free to use and you can modify that and distribute it without license. And it is also robust. Now, PostgreSQL is known for its advanced features like support for complex queries, foreign keys, triggers, views, and store procedures. It also supports JSON and other non-relational database or data types, making it versatile for various use cases. You know, there are a lot of benefits or attributes about this database, and I may not be able to talk about this, but for now, bear in mind that this is open source and it is free, so you don't need to acquire any license for that. So what are the things that we're going to learn today? In this video, we'll cover the following topics. We'll talk about setting up the PostgreSQL, how to install and configure this PostgreSQL in your local machine or on the server. Aside from that, we're going to be using the PostgreSQL installer. That is a step-by-step guide on how to install this from the official Postgres website. Okay, that's the installer side. Aside from that, we're going to also be using Docker, how to use or how to set up and run PostgreSQL in a Docker container. So you can decide or you can choose any one of your choice by using the installer or by using Docker container. Aside from that, you'll be looking at creating database and table. So step-by-step instructions on creating that or for your first database and tables in this PostgreSQL. Then you look at how do you connect your .NET Web API into this Postgres. And lastly, we're going to perform some CRUD operations. That is maybe read and now post by adding data and also by reading data in the Postgres database. Yes, so these are the things that we are going to talk about in this video. So by the end of watching this video, you will have a fully functional .NET Web API connected to Postgres database, ready for your application development. Yes. So if you are ready to enhance your web development skills and learn how to integrate Postgres with .NET, make sure you watch this video to an end. Do not forget to like this video, so comment and subscribe for more tutorials. That's right. Let's get started. So as you can see from the screen, I have my .NET Web API project created, and as you can see from here, I gave it a name as Demo PostgreSQL with Web API. Very simple one as well. Now I haven't touched it. That is the default setup that you see from when you create a new Web API project. So after you create this project, the first thing that you need to do here is to download the installer. That's the Postgres installer from the Postgres website. So let's see how to install that. Aside from that, we will also talk about how to run this with Docker as well. So all that you need to do here is to launch your browser and I'll type in www.postgresql.org/download. And I arrive at this place. Now in here, you can see we have this operating system family in here, and you're going to choose the one that suits what you are having. For now, since I'm using Windows, I'm going to click on this to install or to download that. So when you're done, you're going to have this file being downloaded. And after downloading this, you have to just run this and now install it. It's very simple. Download it, run it, and now install that. So I click on it, and that is what I have in here. Now you can see that you have to download the installer. So this is where you have to click to download the installer in here. So let's click on this, and now this will give us the access to the installer for us to get this downloaded. So on the front here that you see, Now you can see we have this PostgreSQL version, and now we have the operating system specified down here. Now we look for Windows, and that is a 64-bit operating system. So I can click on this, and that is the latest version of 16.3. So I can click on this to get this downloaded. Good. Okay, so now that you are in here, what's the next thing? So your download should begin in a few seconds. So click here to download if the download does not start manually, and now you can download this from here. Good. So when you're done with this, you must have the setup file like this one. So you can see from here, I have the downloaded file here. That's the PostgreSQL 16.3.2, and that's the Windows x64 version. So now try to install, double click on this, and now install this. I've installed this already, so I need not to install this again. You can now run on this and now install this package in here. Now, when you're done installing this, you're going to have access to the server, and also going to have access to the PG admin, and that is a UI for accessing the database of this PostgreSQL that you're going to create. So here I have the PG file installed, and now let me open this file for you to see what it looks like when you're done installing this. So this is how it looks like, and I can see that from here you're going to have access to this, and it's going to run this app for you to see. So you can see waiting for this app to start, and now you can now click on, you wait for that, for this app to get started. So let's wait when this gets up, start running, then we see what to do with that. That's great. So you can see that we are in here, and now there is a PG admin, Postgres admin, and this is what we're going to be using to manage your database of this Postgres. Okay, so as you can see from here, and I can see we have the server, and now with this server, I can see we have this PostgreSQL, and for now, I have created some databases in here for testing it. So I have my Docker DB as a database. I have my custom DB2 as a database. You can actually delete this database as well. So let's see. You can delete this. You can decide to manually create a database in here, or you can decide to create it inside the web API. So when you start the migration, we're going to also create a table in here. So for now, we are not going to start creating this manually here. We want to create it through the migration. Now, you see, when installing this, what that you need to do here is to specify the username and password. For that one, you have to specify the one that suits you and know which one that you can remember easily. So you do that, and we're going to be using that in configuring or creating our connection strings in that. So now that you have this open and it's working is the first step. Now let's see how to integrate this. How do you connect your web API into this? That's going to be the second step. Okay, let's have a look on that. So let's go to our, let me minimize this. Okay, now here we're going to minimize this as well. Let's go to application, and in application here we are going to install some packages in here. What are the packages that you're going to be installing? So we can, maybe I have them here, so I will decide not to install them again, but for you, you need to install these packages. So I'm going to copy them from here, and I'll just paste them, and you have to install them as well. Alright, so I'm going to right click on this project, then go to unload project packages, here unload project, and now from this section you can see we have this item group. I'm going to add these package references in here. Since I have them installed on my system, I have them in here. So we need EF core, you need EF core.tools, the normal stuff that we know. If you want to apply migration, these are the packages that we need as an EF core and the tools as well. Aside from that, we need this. Okay, so Visual Studio Azure Container. Well, we need this npgsql.entity-framework-call.postgresql. So this is a package that we need from here. So you make sure you install this package as well. Now this is not part of what we're doing, so we can remove this from here. Okay, so this is a package that you need. You can see that from here you need a PostgreSQL. So this is the only one package that we need to be able to connect you to the PostgreSQL, and I need your EF core tool as well. Good. So now that we have this, you can pause the video and try to install these packages. Now I'm going to right click on this, then reload project with dependencies to get them to get these packages included in the project. If you're not having this, you can just copy the name of this, then you right click, then you go to manage NuGet packages, then you can pass the name in here, then you can now install them from this browse section. Yes, anyone that you choose, you can do that with it. Now I'm going to reboot solution to get all packages restored. So once that we have this built successfully, and you can see we have one succeeded, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Solution Explorer, and now from the app settings we need to create our connection string in here. So I'm going to click on this, the next one, then I'm going to specify our connection strings. Then for connection strings I need to specify a section in here, and the name of this section here is going to be default. So you can see you have default connection, and now here we need to specify the host, that's the local host. Database here, it is a new database that I want to create. This database does not exist, it's just now that I'm going to create it when I apply migration. So you specify database name that you want to create and put it down here. Now username, I did not change the default username, that's the Postgres. And now the password here, I made a new password, so I use Netcode-Hub. So this is a password. You need to use this credential so you can connect to the Postgres. Okay, you don't have a default, so you need to provide them as well. And this should happen when installing the server, that's the package that we installed, the installer. Good. So now that we have this, all that we need to do here is go to our application. Now we're going to create a folder here, and I'll name it as data for organization purpose. I'm going to say this is data. Now in this data, I'm going to create a class and I'll name it as appdbcontest, or well, dbcontest, any name I can give it to you. So let's say appdbcontest. Now this appdbcontest, so I have my appdbcontest. Okay. Now within appdbcontest class that I have, you know what we normally do, I need to create a constructor for this, and here I can specify this dbcontest, which is coming from the EF core. So dbcontest, and it's coming from entity framework core. We can create a constructor for this. So for this constructor, I can pass it on here, or we can also use the primary constructor introduced in C# version 8. So let's see, we can use a primary constructor as well, which gives you a line of code. Aside from that, let's create a model here. So I'm going to create a model. Now this model, I'm going to name it as, maybe let's say this is product, because I love that. Now product, in this product model, what are some of the properties that we will need? Let's pass in only 3 properties in here. So we can specify the ID. Now in here, we're going to specify this as key. This is going to be our primary key. So let's specify that. Okay, so aside from that, we can also specify table name. But for now, this okay. We're going to specify the table name in the DB context. Now in the RDB context, let's create a DB set. So this is going to be public. Then let's have a DB set. And in a DB set, we're going to specify the name for this table that you want to create in the DB context. That is in a database. Okay, that's a Postgres database. Good. So now that we have this, we can go ahead and register our connection strings in the program.cs file. And how do we do that? It's quite simple. Just a line of code will make this work. Let's see how to go about that. So it is very simple. I have a connection string created already, so I need not to type it again. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to just paste it down here. You can see that here we are using builder.services.rdbcontest.appdbcontest. I believe you know this already, isn't it? Here, what you need to do here is, instead of using an SQLite or SQL Server for each of them, here too, you're going to use npg SQL, isn't it? That's a Postgres SQL. And now you're going to get your, this is not Docker default connection. So this is just a default connection. And here is a section that we created in the app settings, default connection, right? And now we can get that in here. And that is all. This is very simple. That is all. So when you're done with this, what's the next thing that you need to do? Let's build this application together. And we're going to perform database migration. Alright, so this is built. Now let's add database migration to this. So in here, this is what you're going to be doing. Now let's add, oh, okay, so it's ready now. So appdb contest, and I'm going to say this, add migration. Give it a name. I give it as first, because this is the first time that I'm doing this migration. And this is going to create a file, a folder for that as migration. It's going to create a file inside that. And I believe for this, you know this already, so I need not to talk about this anymore. All right, this. So let's say, like you see, we have a table name, and these are the properties going to be used as columns in the table. And now let's update database. So update database, and now this is going to build up. So let's open our package in here. This is a PG admin, and now when this is done, we're going to have a database added, and the database name that I provided was, if I cross check this from our app settings, I have this YouTube demo DB, and I must see that in here. So this is done. You can see it is done. Now let's go in there and I'll refresh this and I'll check it out. So databases, refresh this. Do you have it? Good, you have it in here. So this is a database that we just created. So now that we have this, what's the next thing that we're going to do? We're going to integrate this RDB context in our controller, and now directly start adding data to the database and also reading data from that database to make it complete. Let's see, from our controller, we go to our controller in here, and in that, we don't need any of this. So I'm going to clear all the things that we have in here, and I'm going to make this as product controller, because I want to, yes, product controller. I'm going to grab this, since I don't need this, so let me clear that. Constructor to, let me clear, because I'm going to be using primary constructor. Let me also change the name of the table. No, this is a table. That is the controller in here. So that's the product controller. Okay, let me also remove this. Okay, so let's see, we need to build up 2 endpoints, one for adding and one for getting the list. So here we need to inject our DB context class. So from here, we're going to introduce the C# version 12, that's the primary constructor, and we're going to make it like this, and I'll paste it down in here. Now when we do this, it's going to make this instance available from the whole body. So all methods here can have access to this. So whenever we look in here, this is the normal stuff that we do with the DB context. You can see we are adding product, and here we save it, return the product which has been added. Aside from that, we want to get the whole product, so we convert them to a list and I'll return. This is a very simple thing that you're doing in here, right? Great. So now that we have this, let's give it a try and I'll run this and see. Now all this is about using the Postgres installer. Now when we are done with this, we're going to change the way of our database, and that we're going to be using Docker. Alright, so let's see. Now we have this beautiful endpoint ready. Now if I click on get product, we have to see, or we have to get a list, empty list. Let's see, if you're able to do that, it means that we are connected to our database. Yes, we have it. Now let's try this by adding product to that. So this is a string. Let's say this is product 1. So that is product 1, and that's a description. Let's add this to the database. Yes, it has been added. Now let's try to make query from this. Let's try to get all product, and let's see if this is working. Yes, this is working. Now we can cross check manually. Now from our YouTube here, let's refresh this. Now when you refresh this, go to schemas, and now from here go to public. You can see we have a table section. Click on table, then we have a product table in here. Right click on this, and now go to edit it or select. Do you have edit or select? Okay, so view and edit, maybe our first 100 rows. Then we're going to have our data in here, records being set up and saved up in the database table. Yes, so you can see we have it in the product 1 and our string. So in this case, you can connect PostgreSQL into your web API using the window, or window installer. Okay, so let's talk about the second way to actually run the PostgreSQL is by using Docker. So why do we actually need Docker in running that? So using Docker to run PostgreSQL instead of using the window installer offers several advantages, especially in development and deployment of your application scenarios. Now these are some of the key reasons that you need to implement or use Docker at all time. But let's say if PostgreSQL installer is not available for Windows, can you run it? Yes. If it is not available for Mac, can you run it? Yes. You can run it using the Docker. You can still use it anywhere, no matter the operating system. Let me put it in that way. As far as you have Docker, you have everything that you need. Okay, so let's try how to actually do that with the Docker. So here, all that you need to do here is to install your Docker desktop. So if you haven't installed that application, then you can go to Docker-Hub. Is it Docker-Hub? Let's try that and see. So let me pull up this browser in here. So it is quite simple. Just pull up your browser and now go to www.docs.docker.com/engine/what install, and you can see we have this Docker. Okay, the Docker engine. So in here you can install Docker Desktop for Windows, Docker Desktop for Mac, and Docker Desktop for Linux. Based on the operating system that you have, you choose one which suits your OS. Good. So I have mine already installed, so I'm going to launch it in here, and that's a Docker Desktop for Windows. Alright, so once you have your Docker Desktop opened, pull up your terminal. So type in your terminal. You can also use Windows PowerShell for this. So when you have your terminal like this, that's a Windows PowerShell. To check if the Docker is active, you can pass in Docker that's version, and to give you the Docker version installed, that's 26.1.1. So let's see, have I pulled the image already? So if I type in Docker image, now you can see that from here I have the Postgres image pulled up, right? That is the size, and I created 5 weeks ago, and that is the name in here, right? So I have this already installed. Now if you're not having this, then this is what you're going to do. You pass in Docker, then pull Postgres, you type in this to download this image for you. Now when you're done with this, we need to now run this image. So how do you run this image? This is quite simple. You need to specify the name, and also your database name and the password that we use, and also the username as well. So default username here is a Postgres, and now you have to add your custom password. So let's see, we type in Docker. Let me remove this and I'll paste on this one. Docker run, then this is the name Postgres container. So this is a container name that you're going to run with. We have the password here as Netcode-Hub, that's my password, and that's the username as Postgres. Now here we have the database. Now for database, we are going to use my YouTube Docker. So type in my YouTube Docker. Then, should you supposed to type in my YouTube Docker? No, type in any name that you want to use as your database. Okay, now the port here, it is a default port of 5432 in and out 5432, and now the image name here, it is Postgres. So in case even we did not put the image first, this line of code will just put it. When it decides to run, it checks and it couldn't find that, then to just download the image as the Postgres and I'll run that. Okay, so now let's see. Now the D here means detach. It means you don't want to see all the running codes on the console, so you want to just hide them. Now let's click on this to run it. Now we have it in here. So when I type in Docker PS, you can see that we have the image running up to 3 seconds just started, and that is a port. So now we are done. Our Docker image is running on the port of 5432. From our apsettings.json, we can make a duplicate of this, and now let's make comma, and let's say this is Docker. So this is Docker default connection. We have the host, we have the database, right? And the database, so I'm going to paste the database in here. Aside from that, I need to specify the username that I specify in there, and that is the password. Now when I'm done with this, I need to specify the port as well. So that is the difference in here. You do not forget to specify the port when using the Docker. So now you can see that we have our server running. That's the Postgres server running on our computer. That's the window installer that's with it. And also we are having Docker also running, and this Docker is running the image of this Postgres SQL as well. So we have two servers running for us. One in the Docker and one in the installer that's on our computer. So I think we did not add migration. We forgot that. So let's delete the old one. And now here, so let's stop this. Let's delete the old one and now apply new migration to this. So here we're going to have a new migration, and that is add migration first. Then we're going to update this. So once this is done, let's update the database. So all that I'm trying to do here is to teach you or to show you how you can connect image, that's a Postgres SQL image in the Docker, and also how to use the installer. So you have to choose one and I'll use it. Okay, so now that we have this, we can go ahead and I'll run this and also test this out. So here we can now check. We can get our product and see. Now we are connected to the image in the Docker. And we have to get empty. So let's go in there and now add new product. Let's maintain this. You see now we have it, right? So now let's get our product and see we have it. So that is a way to go about this. So in this video, we've seen how we can connect PostgreSQL to our web API using the Windows installer package and also using the image in Docker as well. Alright, so I believe you enjoyed this. I also enjoyed this. So I'm going to catch up again in the next video.